Right.
Welcome to On Our Shelf. Today what I have is a full review of the HTC One M8. So just in case you missed our unboxing video earlier, here it is again in about 15 seconds. And basically what you get in the box is the phone itself, a USB cable, a wall charger, some user guides, stickers, and some earphones. Everything you should expect in a box. As you can see, laid out right here. Now first let's start with design. As you know, the HTC One M8 comes in 3 colors: gunmetal gray, glacial silver, and amber gold, which is the one that we have. It features an all metal unibody design, and every seam and every line on this phone seems to fit together perfectly. When you pick up this phone and hold it, it almost feels like you're holding something special, something exclusive. And in a way you kind of are. With most phones on the market still being pretty much plastic, you really appreciate the metal body of this phone. In fact, there are just 2 other phones that feel this good when I hold them: the iPhone and the Sony Xperia Z. On the rear of the camera, you have a dual LED flash in amber and a white, a 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, rear microphone. On the bottom, we have a headphone jack, micro USB port. On top, we have our power button and our IR blaster window. On the left side, we have our nano SIM card tray. To the right side, we have our volume rockers and our micro SD card slot tray. On the front of the camera up top, we have our proximity sensor, and next to that we have a 5 megapixel front facing camera. We also have one of our dual front facing speakers up top, and inside of that we have a LED notification light, and on the bottom we have the other half of our dual front facing speakers. In terms of software, it's running Android 4.4.2 KitKat with HTC Sense 6.0 UI on top of that, combined with the hardware of a 2.3 gigahertz quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 processor with 2 gigs of RAM. So with that software and that hardware combined, it almost makes for a perfect marriage. The overall graphics and interface are very nice. When transitioning to other screens, opening and closing apps, it does it flawlessly. And I could babble on all day about how simple it was to use and how good the interface is, but to put it straightforward to you, it just simply works. And it's very responsive, which is exactly what you want in a smartphone. It's exactly what we've been looking for, something that's very responsive and that works all the time with very minimum lag, if any at all. When we take our smartphones out of our pocket, we want to be able to get to whatever app we're trying to get to quick and easy with no problems at all. And you shouldn't be surprised that this phone does that well. This is one of the top spec phones on the market today. By the way, do you hear those speakers? Just listen. Right here we ran a benchmark app, specifically Antutu benchmark, and we got a score of 34,247. So yeah, this phone pretty much screams performance. Now, since you saw the display, let's talk about the display and the speakers. It features a 5-inch 1080p Full HD display with Super LCD3 technology, protected by Gorilla Glass 3, with 440 ppi pixels per inch pixel density, which is a little bit less than last year's model, but that's because of the bigger screen. Oh, and the speakers, dual audio speakers powered with HTC boom sound, simply the best on the market. So have a look and have a listen.
Bit of a slob, isn't he?
All brilliant men are.
To sum it up, hands down, these are the best speakers you can get on any smartphone today. The display is very bright and vibrant, so if you're taking pictures, watching videos, browsing the web, doing whatever it is you're doing on this particular phone in a very well lit situation, let's say you're outside or something like that, you don't have to strain your eyes to look at the screen. And even at odd viewing angles, so if you're trying to show someone else the phone from like a different odd slanted angle, they don't have to strain their eyes to look at the image either. Next up, the camera. It features a dual 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera. Remember, this one up top is just a depth sensing camera. This is your main camera. And here are some actual sample pictures from the camera. Here are some sample videos.
Right here's a good angle right here. You can see it.
And well, here's the front-facing 5 megapixel camera. And where this camera lacks in megapixels, it makes up in features. This camera has tons and tons of features. For example, you can easily get to the camera just by rotating the phone sideways and tapping the volume button. So here's the camera's main interface. You have pan mode, dual capture, selfie, zo camera, video camera, and your standard camera mode. And starting off in camera mode, you have your settings icon in the top left hand corner, which gives you options to change things like crop size, if you want the grid on or off. You have lots of filters, auto white balance, exposure values. You can change the ISO, tap to focus. Your album's in the bottom left hand corner. Just tap that to take a look at the pictures you already took, and it's extremely fast to swipe right through them. This thing loads images really quick. Here's a quick look at panorama mode. And I showed you this video earlier, but here's a look at the actual video on the phone itself. And once you already have your picture taken with this phone and you're wondering, is there anything else I can do to this picture to have more fun with it? Well, with this phone, it has tons of goodies built inside, and you can have a lot of fun. Just simply go to the edit button and just have fun with all the options that you see listed below. Right here, I'm using the foregrounder effect. This is a 3D effect using the depth sensing camera. Here's the seasons effect. Here's the refocus effect. It's pretty cool. It looks like you're changing the depth of field. And overall, I would say it's a pretty good camera. It's not great or anything like that, especially with only 4 megapixels. However, where it lacks in the camera field, like I said earlier, it definitely makes up for what the features that this camera has. And there's actually a lot more than what I actually showed you, but it has a lot of cool features. And if you can deal with the image quality and the video quality that I just showed you, then this video might have just answered your question about the camera. As far as battery life goes, it features a 2600 milliamp embedded battery, and with 100% charge, it's rated at right around 20 days of standby time. So that's pretty good. With my real world testing, I will tell you this, I spent half a day at the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, taking nothing but pictures and video for about 6 hours straight. And after 6 hours, I literally had 20% battery life left. And keep in mind, the screen was on full brightness the whole time. So a couple more things we should touch on before we close. Call quality. Call quality is great. The speakerphone quality is really good. I have AT&T for my cell phone provider, and my data connection was really good. No one had problems hearing me, and I didn't have any problems hearing anyone else. You can use motion gestures, which tend to work most of the time. You can turn the screen on when the screen is off by double tapping. Swipe left to bring your home screen up. Swiping right brings you to blink feed. Also swipe up or down for a few more tricks, I guess. Oh, and when in camera mode, you can swipe to switch between camera and video camera. Also capacity. You can buy this thing in 16 gigabyte and 32 gigabyte configurations, but it's also expandable up to 128 gigabytes via the micro SD card slot. So overall, this is a great smartphone. It's definitely one of the top smartphones of 2014. The only negatives I can think of is this, the camera. It's a very, very usable camera. However, it is outshadowed by the iPhone 5S's 8 megapixel camera and the Samsung Galaxy S5's 16 megapixel camera. And the only other thing is, like I said earlier, it does feel good in the hands, but it also feels a little bit slippery at times. Don't know why, that's just the way it is. Maybe it's the way the edges are curved or something like that. Very good feeling phone, very premium feeling phone, but sometimes it just feels a little slippery, especially without a case. So you might want to get a case for this phone. As for the good, well, it's one of the better built phones out there on the market today. It's very solid and very premium feeling. It has a fantastic 1080p HD display with great colors. The touchscreen is very sensitive and very responsive. And as of right now, with the exception of the 4 megapixel camera, the hardware and software is pretty much as good as it gets. So the bottom line, if I was to buy an Android phone right now, today, this is a phone I would strongly consider. So that's been my review of the HTC One M8 Amber Gold. Take care, I'll see you guys in our next video, and thanks for watching.